Biafra, superstars, media.
My people, how on our day today? I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on where you're listening to the sound of my voice. This is the Biafra Superstars Media. Fellow Biafrans, this whole week, if you have noticed, I gave a full dedication to Nnamdi Kanu. From the day we heard about his health condition, we heard about the low potassium in his blood. And this is a very, very serious situation. We've also heard how Nigerian Zoo government, the DSS, more than 50 times the blood of Nnamdi Kanu was taken off him for sampling or for testing. And the last one, they went to South Africa to test his blood. This is happening to our leader Nnamdi Kanu. And you ask yourself, why is this happening? At a time when Nigeria is parlaying with those in the north, the terrorists in the north that they call bandits. At a time when they are being their best friends, they are going for a peace treaty. To those who have taken lives, they go for a peace treaty. But Nnamdi Kanu, who is speaking for the liberation of his people, Nnamdi Kanu, who is warning us to beware that those Nigerian Zoo government are doing deals with, they are coming to our land. They are coming. Today, they have come to Biafra land. Today, they are in Benue, they are in Plateau, they are in Yoruba land, Kwara State, and the rest of them. They have come. But yet, this man who is the one that cried out in the night, this man is the one who is still being held incommunicado in the DSS dungeon. So at this point, I want you to remember what happened to Nnamdi Kanu in Kenya. And today, while I was doing my research on the man they call Umaru Dikko, you will notice that what happened to him, I believe in the 80s, is similar to what happened to Nnamdi Kanu during his ordeal in Kenya. Umaru Dikko, a northern man, I believe, the same person, Buhari, did the unthinkable. And today I'll prove to you that the Zoo government, the politicians, because they believe in the old school of thought, they believe in doing things the old ways. They are not privy to new ideas, new thinking, system thinkings, how to go and compete in the 21st century. That's why they discuss cow. How cows can roam around the whole zoo called Nigeria. So at this point, I want to carry out a critical analysis on what transpired in London. You would have expected Britain to be, extra tough with Nigeria and the government of Nigeria. Somebody like Buhari shouldn't have access to come back to Britain after seeing what he did in the land of Britain. So sometimes it seems like Britain, the kind of, their laws are sometimes not strong as you think it is. To the layman, if you make a stupid terror act, you will not be allowed to come back to Britain. But a man like Buhari, who did this while in power, still has access to Britain and even died, or he re-died in Britain, because we know from our leader Nnamdi Kanu, Buhari died in Saudi Arabia in a shallow grave. So his re-death happened in Britain. At this point, I want you to please fall back, sit back and relax and hear exactly what happened or what transpired from the point of view of the British media when it comes to the case of Umaru Dikko. Then at the end, I will juxtapose that of Nnamdi Kanu, so you will now get a clearer picture of what really transpired in Kenya against our leader Nnamdi Kanu. If you're ready, let's go there. I'll play this video, then I'll come back and break it down line for line, words for words. If you're ready, let's go there. Watch this.
The millionaire Nigerian snatched from the a gang of armed men had been waiting for some time for Mr. Dikko to emerge from this door. Witnesses have told the police that as he left his house, Mr. Dikko was grabbed by two black men and bundled into the back of a yellow transit vehicle, which was driven at speed in the direction of Bayswater. Officers from the anti-terrorist squad took over the hunt for the kidnappers when they realized the victim's identity. Umaru Dikko, on the right here, is brother-in-law of Nigeria's ousted President Shagari. He was a minister in the Shagari government and was recently named by the new military government as top of their wanted list. Earlier this year, he told ITN he felt safe in London.
I don't feel safe with the military government. I have every reason to feel safe with the military government because I believe that the British government and the British people will not support illegality. Whatever the military junta in Nigeria would want to do, the jurisdiction does not extend to Britain.
When the military government of President BUHARI took over in Nigeria 6 months ago, they accused Umaru Dikko and other ministers of embezzling billions of pounds. British police had feared for some time that supporters of this man would try to snatch Dikko and take him back to Nigeria. All British airports were checked, and tonight the hunt ended at Stansted Airport in Essex, when Mr. Dikko was found inside a crate, waiting to be shipped out of the country as diplomatic baggage. He'd been drugged, but is said to be in a satisfactory condition. 2 other men were found in crates. Police say one is dead.
Hold it there. I hope you heard the last statement he made there. 2 other men were also found in crates, but one was dead. Apart from Umaru Dikko, 2 other men were found in crates as well, but one was dead. That's an international crime. Anyone responsible for such should be treated as a terrorist. Someone who went to kidnap somebody in a foreign country, but somehow Britain allowed it to slide. Do you see the way the Western world, they roll when it comes to the affairs of Africa? As far as they are gaining something special, those fringe benefits, they are happy to make things slide. The same way Finland kept a blind eye to Simon Ekpa because of the lure of the oil and gas contracts from Nigeria. They were able to allow the atrocities of Nigeria to slide. And an innocent man who has no criminal record in Finland was jailed in Finland without bail. For 10 months, he was held without bail. A man without a single criminal record. This is how the Western world rolls. It's all about their interest. It's all about their personal interest. Somebody like Ojukwu made a mistake during the Biafran war. Countries came to support, but they were speaking based on their personal interest. But because Biafrans, we own the resources, Ojukwu wasn't ready to let go in terms of not caring about the percentage of the exploitation those countries would do. But in the case of Nigeria, because they know they don't own the resource in Biafra land, they are happy for any kind of exploitation that countries are ready to do. Come in and, take this crude oil. Don't even put a meter to tell us how much or the amount of crude oil you're taking. Just take it. By the end, give me my quota of 2 billion, 3 billion, 4 billion. That's what they're happy in doing. But when you are the owner of the resources, you will want, or you will need, that country, that company to show transparency, honesty, accountability throughout the whole, process. But when the resource does not belong to you, you don't give a damn. You ask them to come in, siphon the crude oil, as long as they pay you your deposit. So for the fact that Britain allowed this to slide in the case of Buhari, that he did this in the home soil, in the homeland of Britain, yet the family, the children of Buhari could abode in Britain, yet the man called Buhari could go to Britain for medical checkup. and he was not held or whatever. Yes, we knew about the sanctions back then. But you wonder what's really going on in Britain, in the Western world. So at this point, let me take you back to what transpired that day in London. And now you understand the ordeal of our leader, Nnamdi Kanu, while he was in Kenya. Let's take it back. Listen.
The millionaire Nigerian was snatched from the doorstep of his luxury home just off the Bayswater Road. Police immediately sealed off the area, but the kidnappers had got away. Detectives believe a gang of armed men had been waiting for some time for Mr. Dikko to emerge from this door.
Hold it there. You just heard what he said. That this man was snatched from his home. And it was believed that some armed men laid ambush in the front of his home. Umaru Dikko was snatched, kidnapped from his home, and it's believed that some armed men, some men who were armed, some armed black men that laid ambush close to his homes were the one responsible for the kidnap, and they got away. The police came and sealed up the area, and when they knew who the kidnapped victim was, they went into a red alert. When you juxtapose that story with that of Nnamdi Kanu, Umaru Dikko came out of his house. Some men laid siege outside his house. He was kidnapped and they got away. The police were informed and they took action. But in the case of Nnamdi Kanu, while he was in Kenya, his own was a bit unique in a way because he was being, he was careful about his surroundings. So nobody knew his location in Kenya. Yes, they knew he was in Kenya because those around him, the DOS and the rest of them, they sold him out for $9 million. We know about the story, and today we know how they are trying to still blackmail him. But let's keep that one aside. They knew his location, but they could not pinpoint his whereabouts. So what they did was to move him from the unknown to a known location. So they came with somebody with a promise of supporting the movement. Nnamdi Kanu said, okay, fine. If this man is coming to see me, tell him to wait for me at the airport. That's a clever move, not to show somebody your place of abode. Tell the man to wait me at the airport. I will come and pick him up by myself. So that there will be no somebody else or no one else with him trailing or having a wind of the communication between him and this gentleman who is coming to support the movement. That was how they were able to lure him. Say, Nnamdi Kanu, we thank God, or this man, or the man want to help us. So, now good man. He's a businessman, but he's saying he's scared. He only wants to speak to you directly. Nobody else will be involved in this communication. He believes in you, he believes in Biafra, and he believes in protecting the land of Biafra land and all those stuff, But he's saying he's scared. He doesn't want it to go out. So Oyendu said, okay, fine. Ask him when he gets to the airport, let me know when he arrives. I'll be the one to pick him up. That's the gospel truth. I'm giving you guys the gospel truth, the real account of what happened. Oyendu's plan B was to pick him up at the airport, then take him to a private hotel where nobody will know about it, just him and Nnamdi Kanu. So they will have time to discuss what was going on and the rest. Unknown to Nnamdi Kanu, like in the case of Umaru Dikko, their intention, they knew he was in Kenya, but Nigerian government, the BUHARI government did not know. They could not pinpoint the main location of Nnamdi Kanu. So what they had to do was, they call it in the war front, they call it to smoke something out, fire in the hole. Back in during the days of the Vietnam War and all those things, when you're hiding in the hole, they have to put this smokes and all those things in there to smoke you out. If you refuse to come out, the smoke will choke you until you pass out. So it depends on your level of strength, that inner core strength to withstand such. But in the case of Nnamdi Kanu, they use the same tactics to smoke him out. Came with a man who perhaps was naive. He thought he was coming to support Nnamdi Kanu, not knowing there was a trail on that man. So on getting to the airport, Nnamdi Kanu was waiting, told the man, he had a phone call, told the man, okay, I'm at the airport now, at the car park there. Meet me in the, in the parking lot A, B, C, and D. Not knowing he was giving out the information to the person who used to blackmail him and set him up. When they got there, he was waiting. Some men came in an unmarked car. They grabbed Nnamdi Kanu. They were trying to bundle him into their unmarked van. Nnamdi Kanu, being a very, very strong man, he was shouting, screaming, struggling with them. And with his thunderous voice, he was yelling, "My name is Nnamdi Kanu. They have come to kidnap me. They want to kill me. Tell my people. I am the leader of IPOB. I am a Biafran. Tell my people they have come to kidnap me. Nigeria has come to kidnap me." Now, this is where I fault Kenya. Because the Kenyan government claims that those who carried out those acts, they are foreigners. They are not from Kenya. I doubt it. Because when Nnamdi Kanu was shouting, creating a scene, there was a commotion. The other people within that area, that defined space of the parking lot, they all came out to support Nnamdi Kanu because they saw a man who is very eloquent, who was shouting and who had the confidence. He was instructing them on what to do. "My name is Nnamdi Kanu. I am the leader of IPOB. I am a Biafran. Nigeria government have come to keep me. They want to kidnap me. They want to do this and that. These men here, they have come to kill me. Tell my people, they have..." It's a setup. They told me I'm waiting for somebody here to pick him up, not knowing the Nigerian government, they set me up. They have come to kill me. Go and tell my people. He was shouting with a thunderous voice. People came to help him out now. It's normal. People came to his rescue. Unfortunately, in this case, those men that held him told the people to back out because he's a terrorist and he has come to terrorize Kenya. They've caught him and they're taking him for questioning. Now, if Kenya's government statement was true, that those that carried out the act were not military men or whatever from Kenya, how come they were able to give such an instruction and the people in the vicinity yield to what they said? Because you and I know, if a foreign body, mercenaries, if they come to a location and their mission is exposed, they run away. They run for safety. It is normal. I don't care who you are. The moment your mission is exposed, you run for cover. It's a failed mission. You run for cover. But for the fact this guy is the waiter that said, no, don't mind him. He's a criminal. He's a terrorist. He has come to, destroy Kenya. We have caught him and we are taking him somewhere. He's been arrested. And the Kenyan that should know their police, that should know how their army looks like, that should know how their military personnel they dress and look like, they obliged not to help Nnamdi Kanu when they heard what those men were saying. So Nnamdi Kanu was thrown into the van and whisked away. But now this is where the problem comes. In the case of Nnamdi Kanu, we were waiting for 8 days. There was no report of him missing to the local police. All we heard was he was in the mountain praying somewhere. Those they call the DOS, they said, don't worry, he's fine. He's in the mountain praying somewhere. He's praying for 8 good days. Unlike in the case of Umaru Dikko, as soon as those gunmen, those terrorists, kidnapped him, a call was made by his family. And what you are seeing here, the British police, they came out, blockaded, the area where the kidnap took place. And as soon as they knew who the person was, they went on a manhunt mission. Everywhere in the UK was sealed up, including the airports and the airspaces. You will hear that now. But in the case of Kenya, nobody raised an alarm to the Kenyan government. People told us he was praying, that we should not worry. That's why it took them 8 bloody good days or evil days to carry out their act. Now let's continue now. Here, the next thing that happened in the case of Umaru Dikko, and it will blow your mind. Listen.
Told the police that as he left his house, Mr. Dikko was grabbed by 2 black men.
Listen.
For some time for Mr. Dikko to emerge from this door.
Listen.
Witnesses have told the police that as he left his house, Mr. Dikko was grabbed by 2 black men and bundled into the back of a yellow transit vehicle, which was driven at speed in the direction of Bayswater. Officers from the anti-terrorist squad took over the hunt for the kidnappers when they realized the victim's identity. Umaru Dikko, on the right here, is brother-in-law of Nigeria's ousted President Shagari.
Shagari is the brother-in-law of this man. The officers in the UK, they went on a manhunt. Immediately they knew the identity of the kidnapped victim. Immediately they knew the identity of the kidnapped victim. So to show you how evil those around Nnamdi Kanu was, nobody raised an alarm in Kenya that our leader was kidnapped. Instead, what they told us was he went for prayers. And in this case now, Britain, knowing who the person was, they went on a manhunt to make sure he's not taken out of the country. And we've just heard now that he is the brother-in-law of the then Shehu Shagari. Let's continue. Listen.
In the Shagari government, and was recently named by the new military government as top of their wanted list.
Listen.
And was recently named by the new military government as top of their wanted list.
He was recently named by the then BUHARI government as one of those who are top in their most wanted list. We also, when they were putting bounty on the head of Nnamdi Kanu, the northern elite, they put the bounty on the head of Nnamdi Kanu. Some of you were wondering what's going on. When you put the bounty on a man's head, it means he's one of the most wanted. Umaru Dikko, his brother-in-law was who? Shehu Shagari. And he was a minister in the government of Shehu Shagari. So Nigerian government, the military, they felt that he had stolen billions, or he had access to the billions supposedly looted by Shehu Shagari, according to them. Let's continue. Mind you, the Shehu Shagari government was a civilian government, and the then BUHARI government was a military junta. Let's continue. Listen.
Earlier this year, he told ITN he felt safe in London.
I do feel safe with the military government. I have every reason to feel safe with the military government because I believe that the British government and the British people will not support illegality.
Hold it there. He said, while just on holiday in Britain, he said he do feel safe in Britain. He believes in the government and the people of Britain because he believes that Britain will not get involved in any form of illegalities. While he was speaking, he was not a citizen of Britain. He was only a resident in Britain, or a resident in Britain. Think about that. But look at the confidence he had that Britain will not get himself indulged in any form of illegality, especially when it comes to the Nigerian government. But Nnamdi Kanu, who is a citizen of Britain, Nigeria succeeded in kidnapping him until this day. Britain has been dealing with this case with the child's gloves. They pretend like they don't understand what's going on in Nigeria. They pretend that even Nnamdi Kanu is actually going through a trial in Nigeria when they know the modus of operandi in Nigeria is different. It is strange. How can a man be tried for more than 10 years? What case? What charges is on this man's head? Britain knows how they've been changing the charges over and over again. Britain knows these things, but they keep on pretending like they don't understand what's going on. You will expect that if, in the case of Umaru Dikko, who is just on a residency visa, I believe, or something, or on a diplomatic passport, residing in Britain, if he has this confidence that if he felt safe in Britain, then how come a citizen of Britain who went on holiday in Kenya and was kidnapped in Kenya, since 2021 till date, Britain has said nothing about it? Britain has done nothing about it. All they do is send in their consular officers to the court cases, and they act nonchalant. They're acting soft to a third world country in Africa. A third world country kidnapped a British citizen in Kenya on holiday, and Britain, they are acting soft. There are no strong statements from Britain concerning their citizen, Nnamdi Kanu. And you ask yourself, what's really happening here? But this in Britain, they swung into action. When Umaru Dikko was kidnapped, a stranger, a foreigner, a visitor was kidnapped, and the government swung into action. But now when a black British is being kidnapped, the government of Britain is pretending like they don't understand what's going on. That nonchalant attitude, that's what pisses me off the most. That playing naive. Same thing in Finland. They play naive. They pretend they've not been hearing about Nigeria. They pretend not to know about a case where Canada found APC and PDP as a terrorist organization. They pretend not to know what the jihadists are doing in Nigeria. They pretend not to know the country where Christians are killed or unalived the most in the world. They pretend not to see the new phenomenon of IDP camps. IDP camps. Ah, God have mercy. In Europe, they are complaining about the refugees. So Nigeria came with a new techniques, a new strategy where you keep them within, not without. That way, they are not refugees, on a refuge or whatever in a different country. No. They are contained within Nigeria, but in an IDP camp, in a location outside their community, a location outside their place of origin. That way, it is an in-house contained strategy, policy to Islamize Nigeria and to take over the resource, the land of the people. Because Nigeria knows if people start to run away from the country as refugees, then perhaps the Western world might have to speak on it. So they came with the strategy, okay, in this case, let us find a way to make sure we keep everything in-house. So the mantra IDP camp, internal displaced peoples or persons, was formed. You keep it in-house. Lord have mercy. Finland knew all these things, but they pretend, they act nonchalant like they don't know what Nigeria is. A notorious country. They pretend not to understand what Nigeria is or what's going on in Nigeria. Instead, they have come to bite, from the rotten apple. They got the contract, oil and gas in Lekki Peninsula in Lagos. Oil and gas. Biafran oil and gas piped from Biafra land, from the creeks to Lekki. And Finland felt so good, say, wow, this is our chance to make some billions. Hence, now they pretend not to know what's going on, and they even went, they went the extra mile to even, find their own guilty. A man who is a politician, a man who has no criminal record in the name of Simon Ekpa. They found him guilty in Finland. Make that make sense. Let's continue. Listen.
Whatever the military junta in Nigeria would want to do, the jurisdiction does not extend to Britain.
Hold it there. Whatever the zoo military junta wants to do, their jurisdiction does not extend to Britain. That was the assumption of Umaru Dikko. So he was confident that he was safe. So you ask yourself, why did Kenya, till now, they've not taken Nigeria to the international courts? If they are claiming that they had no hand in what happened to Nnamdi Kanu, if they are saying they were not involved, then how come they're not taking Nigeria to court for coming to their land or their country to carry out such a heinous act of terrorism and kidnapping? Because also Nnamdi Kanu was tortured for 8 days. He was poisoned. They know Nigeria's jurisdiction does not extend to Kenya. So how come the government of Kenya has not taken any legal action against Nigeria? Sometimes I wonder. Sometimes I ponder. Sometimes I think out loud. If you claim that this man who should be under your protection, because when someone comes to your country on holiday or whatever, automatically their welfare and safety lies on your hands. And not only that, a British citizen came to your country on holiday and the Nigerian government came to your own jurisdiction, came to Nairobi to kidnap him as you claim. Until this day, all Kenya has done was to go to court to say, to them, they believe Nnamdi Kanu must still be in Kenya. Whatever he's doing in Nigeria, Nigerian government must send him back to Kenya. But they are not holding Nigerian government to account, making them to pay for their actions. They ain't doing that. So I'm asking myself, what's really going on here? What's really going on? Let's continue. Listen.
The military government of President BUHARI took over in Nigeria 6 months ago. They accused Umaru Dikko and other ministers of embezzling billions of pounds. British police had feared for some time that supporters of this man would try to snatch Dikko and take him back to Nigeria. All British airports were checked, and tonight the hunt ended at Stansted Airport in Essex, where Mr. Dikko was found inside a crate, waiting to be shipped out of the country as diplomatic baggage. He'd been drugged, but is said to be in a satisfactory condition.
He was drugged, but he was said to be in a stable condition. He was drugged. Underline those words. I tell you that Nigerian politicians, they follow the old school of thought. They are not smart enough to come with new tactics. They go with the old school of thought. They repeat things they did 20, 30 years ago. They keep on doing it. 60 years ago, blame the Igbos and your problems will be solved. Bring in tribalism, and before you know it, Nigeria will become one to attack one particular tribe. He was drugged. I asked you to underline those words. But when they found him, he was in a stable condition. Now, do you see why we said Nnamdi Kanu was also poisoned and drugged in Kenya? Because if all the strategies and tactics used by the BUHARI government in the case of Umaru Dikko is similar, perfectly aligned with what they are doing to Nnamdi Kanu, then you will understand that Nnamdi Kanu, for those 8 days, he was drugged. He was chained to the ground. He was drugged while they were observing. They didn't want to make the same mistake they made in the case of Umaru Dikko, because in the case of Umaru Dikko, they rushed quickly to the airport. And while the British government were looking around, they were able to seal everywhere up, and they saw him at a crate or inside a crate in Standard Airport. But think about it. When they saw Umaru Dikko, he was drugged. So what do you think they would have done to Nnamdi Kanu? Now you see why he's having a problem with the blood. Low potassium in the blood. Now you understand what's going on. Because some of the symptoms of low potassium is fatigue, tiredness. You feel lazy, you feel dumb, you just want to be in a bed, you don't want to rise up. Those are some of the symptoms. So when you drug somebody, and you know those who drugged Nnamdi Kanu, they were not experts. These are killers, mercenaries between Kenya and Nigeria that came together to carry out that heinous act. So perhaps they put excess of the medication in his body that poisoned his blood. And now he is suffering from low potassium. You see me, I took my time when I heard about the ordeal of this man, Nnamdi Kanu. His heart condition, health condition, the blood situation. I knew something was wrong. Because when I was a kid, I used to read the tabloid with my dad, and we both discussed, as a kiddo, as a child, we both discussed this case of Umaru Dikko. And I said to him, Daddy, how is it possible that he was kept? Then I was thinking he was in a suitcase. I was thinking they put him in a suitcase, not knowing it was a crate. Okay? So how I asked my dad then, how was it possible that they left him in a suitcase? Won't he be scared? Won't he shout? And my dad said, no, he won't even know he's in a suitcase. They would have drugged him. The drug will make him calm. But sometimes, if not checked, he might slowly slip into death. So the issue about fear, awareness will be gone. You'll be in there, and you won't even know what's happening to you. So when I remember the case of Umaru Dikko, and I saw Nnamdi Kanu, the pictures, the mugshot that we saw about him, that we saw of him, where one military man was holding him, and to call a spade, he was looking so weak. It is clear somebody was holding him to look steady. But if you look at his head was going backwards. It tells me of a man or a person who is deeply asleep, but they want to keep him awake for a mugshot. His eyes were closed, his lips were sealed, were closed, and his head was going backwards. But the military men held him in a position to look as if he was actually there with them. Nnamdi Kanu was overdosed with poison, not drugs. Because when you overdose someone with drugs, it becomes a poison. And what they did to him has led to the condition he's going through. Take your time, go and investigate that picture again. You will see what I saw in that picture. I knew he was poisoned. Let's continue. Let's continue.
2 other men were found in crates. Police say one is dead.
Boom. 2 other men were found in the crate. And police said one of them was dead. Can you now see that thin line of what drugs can do to a person? Because when they drug you the wrong way, the wrong dose, in terms of the dosage, when they give you the wrong one, it's a thin line between life and death. Your heart might just stop beating. And slowly you fall into death. One of them died in the process. So those who assumed it was a case of just Umaru Dikko, no. They went all out to get 3 people. Umaru Dikko and 2 others. The BUHARI government did this. They went on a kidnapping spree in a foreign country. In Britain. Britain of all countries. The BUHARI government. To show you how low and shallow his IQ is, that he couldn't even understand the consequence of his actions. You are going to Britain to do this. Do you know what the repercussion for you, your children, your family, your government, your country? Now I get it. Britain knew, they were getting more than what happened in terms of, the resource they were siphoning from Nigeria. So they kept a blind eye. But in the process, one of them died. But Britain kept a blind eye. The same way Finland is keeping a blind eye in the atrocities happening in Biafra land, knowing fully well Simon Ekpa is the only one that stood up in the absence of Nnamdi Kanu to say enough is enough. These terrorists will not be allowed to take over Biafra land. In everything Simon Ekpa did, he was sending in all the evidence to to Finland. But unfortunately, Finland kept a blind eye. Lord have mercy. My heart is heavy. My heart is heavy. I can't believe this. Now it is clear that Nnamdi Kanu for 8 days was drugged. And we thank God that God kept him alive. Because any mistake, that dosage would have killed him. But unfortunately, it has tampered with his heart condition, with his health, with his blood, with his body organs. And now he's a very, very sick man. So we are letting the whole world know. After I took my time to break this video down, we are putting the whole world in alert or on alert. That if they allow Nigeria to kill our leader Nnamdi Kanu and they keep a blind eyes, we the Biafrans, we will not keep a blind eyes. Because Nnamdi Kanu means the world to us. Simon Ekpa means everything to us. They are the ones ordained by God to protect us, we the Biafrans that don't believe in Islam. We are Christians, Jewish and traditional worshippers in Biafra land. I repeat, we are mainly Christians, Jewish and African traditional worshippers in Biafra land. We don't believe in Islam. There is no Islam in Biafra land. Islam is alien to us. Which is why Nigeria, they hate the Biafrans with a passion, because they see us as a stumbling block. We are the ones slowing their process. The Islamification process, which will eventually lead to Islamization. I repeat, they see Biafrans as the stumbling block. That stubborn child slowing the process of Nigeria becoming an Islamic country. Some of you, because of tribalism, you will not see what's going on. Some of you, you see us as the problem because somehow you envy us that we do well in business. We come to your land and we excel, and you're wondering, how can these foreigners or these strangers who come, these interlopers, who come to live amongst us, they are doing very well. Why? Because we don't believe in a 9-to-5 kind of jobs. We are businessmen by nature. We believe in the science of business. This tribalism has created a clog in the wheel of progress that the other countries or other states or the other tribes within Nigeria that knows what is happening, but somehow they feel good inside when the might of the Nigerian military is sent to the Biafra land to decimate, create a genocide, and kill us at random. They feel good about it because of enviness and jealousy. They don't want to look at the bigger picture, the large picture, the lost picture of what is happening in Nigeria, what is happening in Benue, what is happening in Plateau, what is happening even in the north, in the Christian areas of the north, Southern Kaduna, Zamfara, Katsina. They see what's happening, but they pretend. In Yoruba land, Kwara, as we speak, things are happening in Kwara. Kwara state is going down. They are now stopping the cultures of the Yorubas being practiced in Kwara. But the response of the Yorubas is to turn around and find a way to stop the Biafrans in Lagos doing their traditional activities, ceremonial activities, without portfolio, without real office. Figureheads who claim to be the OB of this. You know they are just figureheads, but somehow you feel so quick you are offended to stop us in Lagos. Those that just have a ceremonial power. They have no real power. But the emir can come and do what he's doing in Lagos. In Kwara State, they can come and stop you from worshiping your gods, from doing what you are doing, and it's okay. Nobody complains. You take your anger, your aggression, and you put it on the Biafrans. Fellow Biafrans, this is the problem we have. When we say these things, nobody want to listen to us because deep inside, Nigeria knows what they do. That the moment you want to speak out for the Biafrans, they come and cajole you with a contract, a deal you cannot reject. Today, Britain is keeping quiet to what has happened to Nnamdi Kanu, a black British who went on holiday in Kenya and was kidnapped by the Nigerian government, taken from Kenya to Nigeria. Britain is doing nothing. And the one who did it is a repeated offender. Buhari is a repeated offender. A terrorist and a kidnapper who did the same thing to Umaru Dikko in the 80s. But Britain is keeping quiet. Suddenly, Britain does not have the information. They don't have the documents, the dossier of the antics, the activities of the BUHARI government. Today, as we speak, Finland, of all countries, they act like, oh no, nothing can be done about it. Simon Ekpa got his independence illegally. Simon Ekpa's Biafra was redeclared illegally. We followed an illegal process. God have mercy. Then why can't Finland take the lead and show us the legal process then? Come on, we're inviting you. Come and take the lead and show us how to go about it. A process that over 50 million people, they voted in a process. The Biafrans, we approve the process used by our Prime Minister and we follow the process. But today, Finland court is saying, no, you know, the way you redeclared your country was done illegally. A very tiny country as Finland, 6.5 million living in the local and about 3.5 living in diaspora. a very tiny country, is telling us, the Biafrans, that the process we used is illegal. Fellow Biafrans, I want you to know that Simon Ekpa, every action he took, every step he made, or whatever, every step he took, every action he made sure Finland were documented, they were aware. He got their consent. And to prove the doubters wrong, I present to you a recorded video evidence of Simon Ekpa presenting to the Finnish government all the documentations of the activities that the Biafrans were looking towards the redeclaration of Biafra. The video you're about to watch, it will blow your mind. Simon Ekpa showed them everything, gave them copies of everything. They were aware we were coming to Finland for a convention that will eventually lead to the redeclaration of Biafra. Finland was aware. How come they didn't tell us it was illegal? We all came to Finland. So please watch this video and I'll wrap it up. Thank you and God bless you. Watch this.
Entinen puhdistus ja kristittyjen vainot Nigeriassa. Se hallituksen toimesta sekä pyyntö muuta vaikuttaa Biafran itsenäisyysprosessiin Nigeriassa. Kiitos. Kiitos. Liittyen entinen puhdistus ja kristittyjen vainot Nigeriassa. Se hallituksen toimesta sekä pyyntö muuta vaikuttaa Biafran itsenäisyysprosessiin Nigeriassa. Kiitos. Kiitos.
Yeah, check me out. Superstars Media. Lord Lugard, Bloomington, Lord Lugard, and it's why Flora show. 1914 amalgamation is what we dying for. 3 nations to 1 nation, ever since annihilation. Nepotism is nonsense. You and you, clap your hands. Biafra gonna come, clap your hands. Biafra, Oduduwa, we're free now. Freedom is gonna come, we're free now. Yeah.